So recently, former Packers QB Kurt Benkert had some more thoughts to share about the Packers defense, and he responded to a tweet from Dan Orlovsky where Orlovsky was breaking down a 3rd and 4 situation where he did not think that the defense was properly aligned and wasn't the proper defense for that situation. And Kurt Benkert responded to this tweet, and I want to share what he had to say. He says this: Week 15, by the way, not even a fighting chance. Communication problems or not, tell me why a too high defense is being called on 3rd and 4 in field goal territory. This is classic bring the pressure and try to force a sack to knock them out of field goal range. Instead is the exact opposite, but worse. And to Dan's point, this is the first 3rd down call in the game, the one that you had to deliberately script at the top of your call sheet. I'm biased, obviously, as a former player, but where is the accountability for the guys that are making millions of dollars year over year to call plays? You'll leave the revolving door open for players, but won't hold the same standard for the decision makers that's only job is to put players in a position to succeed pre-snap. So it sounds like he's talking about Joe Barry and the fact that he's now been here for 3 seasons and things like this have consistently happened. And we even heard Matt LaFleur in the press conference a few days ago say that he was aware that, those kind of calls on 3rd and 4, 3rd and short aren't acceptable in those kind of situations. And so now my question going forward is, for the final 3 weeks of the season, are we actually going to see a change? Are we going to see a change in the philosophy of Joe Barry? Because he was hired here for a reason, to bring in that sort of Vic Fangio style scheme, the one that was run back with Brandon Staley and the Rams, which is sort of one of the reasons that Joe Barry was signed here to Green Bay, was to bring that sort of style. It seems like those kind of defenses have not really been working, maybe outside of Vic Fangio himself, as of late. And so I do wonder if, because of the lack of success trying to do what Joe Barry has done the past couple weeks, are we going to actually see a change? Is Matt LaFleur going to talk to Joe Barry and say, we can't keep having these happening, you need to change the way you call this defense? Or are we going to see the same issues show up time and time again for the final 3 weeks? And I think that'll be a big indicator of what could happen here in the future for the Packers, for their defense. I also want to bring up another video I was watching this morning from Leroy Butler, former Packer, and he was on doing a video with Tom Silverstein of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel breaking down the defense, and I'll try to link that somewhere because it's a very interesting 20-minute breakdown on Leroy Butler and his thoughts on the defense. And he points out lots of similar things where lots of times it's the players aren't in the position he thinks they should be in. He was noting how many times the linebackers were too close to each other. He didn't like the spacing, and I don't know if that's a player problem or a Joe Barry problem. I think that if you're calling the defense, and clearly it's your job to try to get guys in the proper position. He was also talking about certain situations, and there was this one play where he said, based on the way that the Buccaneers, sort of their offense was being called and the way they were lined up with 2 receivers on one side, 3 on the other, he said back in the day, based on this specific play in the positioning the Packers defensive players were in, that he himself would have said, okay, I'm going to come play down on this to try to help a guy like Devondre Campbell, who was matched up on Chris Godwin. So that way, if Godwin beats Devondre Campbell because it is a mismatch, then I'll come down and try to, mess with the throw there. And instead on that play, I think it was Jonathan Owens or Rudy Ford, one of them at safety, was playing so far back, and there was so much of a cushion from the safeties playing so far back that they just, Godwin beats Devondre Campbell to the inside. There's no help there. I think they converted a 2nd and 18. And so I do wonder, too, when if you have some more veteran players back there, guys who really understood situation, Leroy Butler said that he himself would have communicated with one of the players and said, I'm going to come down here and do this. And I don't know if that's outside of what the defensive coordinator would want, but at the same time, it would be nice to have some veterans who really know exactly what's going on, or at least being taught that if you see the situation, maybe come and adjust this way so that things like teams converting on 2nd and 18 don't happen. So now the question is, as I said, will we see this change? Will we see there be changes made from this defense? We'll see on Sunday against the Panthers, and we'll see the other 2 games and sort of witness that and see if anything changes here. But that is all I have for today. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.